Hello, St. Peter's. Welcome back to the library. I'm back in the library this week. It is week 14 of our library time for our school year series. We are getting ready for Christmas. Are you getting ready for Christmas? My friends are here. They're excited to be back. I even wore a Christmassy penguin sweater for you today. But sometimes we can forget about the really special moments of Christmas when we get all caught up with, oh, this has to be done. We need to do this right now. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Let's slow down a little bit. What do you say? Do you guys want to slow down a little bit and enjoy each other's company and enjoy having love in your hearts and love in your homes? Let's celebrate that this Christmas because it's going to look a little different, and that's okay. We still have each other. I still get to read books to you, even though I'm here just with my friends in the library. I'm so happy that you still get to have library time with me. That's a great Christmas present for me to know that you can still watch. And I hope maybe you'll find some special moments during this month of December that you can hold really special in your heart to make this an amazing Christmas. What do you say? What do you think, guys? You want to hear a story? We got Ralph here, Magic Monkey, Daisy, and look how high Joy is. She is really getting daring on these bookshelves. She's way up high, but I kept her jar of joy down low because I don't want it to get broken. I don't want anything to happen to it. We'll find out how to spread some extra cheer and joy during December. So remember last week, we read a story that taught us about maybe we don't have to spend money on gifts. Maybe we can give a gift from the heart. Something that is not useful to us anymore, but could be very useful to someone else. Or we can find a new way to use something that will help someone, right? Think of other people. And then we learned how to make snowflakes. That was really fun because when you make snowflakes, you can give them as gifts. Simple as that. A simple gift from your heart that you created, right? Well, today's story, I think you will be familiar with it, and it's a very special story about a little boy who finds the belief in his heart about the spirit of Christmas, and it is The Polar Express. And this book has some amazing illustrations. Do you remember what illustrations are? Right, the pictures. These are incredible, so really pay close attention when I show you the pictures. Our author is Chris von Allsburg. Let's read The Polar Express. Guess what? Chris von Allsburg is also our illustrator. He has written and he has drawn all of the pictures in this book. Are you ready? The Polar Express. There you go. I'm going to bring the pictures really close so you can see them. On Christmas Eve, many years ago, I lay quietly in my bed. I did not... I'm sorry, I couldn't see it. Here we go. Let's try that again. On Christmas Eve, many years ago, I lay quietly in my bed. I did not rustle the sheets. I breathed slowly and silently. I was listening for a sound a friend had told me I'd never hear, the ringing bells of Santa's sleigh. There is no Santa, my friend had insisted, but I knew he was wrong. Late that night, I did hear sounds, though not of ringing bells. From outside came the sound of hissing steam and squeaking metal. I looked through my window and saw a train standing perfectly still in front of my house. What? Look at that. Can you imagine a train pulling up in front of your house? Wow. It was wrapped in an apron of steam. Snowflakes fell lightly around it. A conductor stood at the open door of one of the cars. He took a large pocket watch from his vest, then looked up at my window. I put on my slippers and robe. I tiptoed downstairs and out the door. "All aboard!" the conductor cried on. I ran up to him. "Well," he said, "are you coming?" "Where?" I asked. "Why, to the North Pole, of course," was his answer. "This is the Polar Express." I took his outstretched hand and he pulled me aboard. Wow. Amazing. So look at this train car. All the children. Ooh, I wonder what they're bringing. Do you know? I think you might know. It's hot chocolate. That's right, hot chocolate. Look at that picture. The train was filled with other children, all in their pajamas and nightgowns. We sang Christmas carols and ate candies with nougat centers as white as snow. We drank hot cocoa as thick and rich as melted chocolate bars. Outside, the lights of towns and villages flickered in the distance as the Polar Express raced northward. They need to go north if they're heading to the North Pole. And look at this. This is always one of those kind of spooky pictures, where you can see the woods and the wolves. But see the train back there? There's the Polar Express. Soon, there were no more lights to be seen. We traveled through cold, dark forests, where lone wolves roamed and white-tailed rabbits hid from our train as it thundered through the quiet wilderness. Trains can be very loud. Look at the mountains. Wow. We climbed mountains so high, it seemed as if we would scrape the moon. But the Polar Express never slowed down. Faster and faster we ran along, rolling over peaks and through valleys like a car on a roller coaster. Those are some big mountains. Wow. The mountains turned into hills, the hills to snow-covered plains. We crossed a barren desert of ice, the great polar ice cap. Lights appeared in the distance. They looked like the lights of a strange ocean liner sailing on a frozen sea. "There," said the conductor, "is the North Pole." Can you see it? It's here. Let's look closer. It looks pretty exciting. Let's go. Oh, here it is. Look at that. See the lights? Sorry, I hit the chair. And the houses, the big buildings. Where do you suppose are in those buildings? Oh, maybe that's where Santa's workshop might be. Let's find out. The North Pole. It was a huge city standing alone at the top of the world, filled with factories where every Christmas toy was made. At first, we saw no elves. "They are gathering at the center of the city," the conductor told us. "That is where Santa will give the first gift of Christmas." "Who receives the first gift?" we all asked. The conductor answered, "He will choose one of you." Wow, that's amazing. How would you like to receive the first gift of Christmas? Pretty special honor, wouldn't it be? Here we go. "Look!" shouted one of the children. "The elves!" Outside we saw hundreds of elves. As our train drew closer to the center of the North Pole, we slowed to a crawl, so crowded were the streets with Santa's helpers. When the Polar Express could go no farther, we stopped, and the conductor led us outside. Now, can you see? This is all full, a street filled with elves. Let's look really closely. Look at that. There are so many elves crowding the street. The train had to stop because it couldn't get through any further. From way back, it kind of just looks like a little ocean of red, doesn't it? But then when we went in closer, we could see those are the elves. That's pretty cool. Oh, who's that? Do you see him? There's Santa. We pressed through the crowd to the edge of a large open circle. In front of it stood Santa's sleigh. The reindeer were excited. They pranced and paced, ringing the silver sleigh bells that hung from their harnesses. It was a magical sound, like nothing I'd ever heard. Across the circle, the elves moved apart, and Santa Claus appeared. The elves cheered wildly. He marched over to me and, pointing to me, said, "Let's have the fellow here." He jumped into his sleigh. The conductor handed me up. I sat on Santa's knee, and he asked, "Now, what would you like for Christmas?" Our storyteller gets to choose, gets to have the first gift of Christmas. Whoa. How excited would you be? That's amazing. What do you think would you ask if it was the first gift of Christmas? That would be a really hard decision. Let's find out and see what he asks for. Here we go. I knew that I could have any gift I could imagine. But the thing I wanted most for Christmas was not inside Santa's giant bag. What I wanted more than anything was one silver bell from Santa's sleigh. When I asked, Santa smiled. Then he gave me a hug and told an elf to cut a bell from a reindeer's harness. The elf tossed it up to Santa. He stood holding the bell high above him and called out, "The first gift of Christmas!" Is that what you would have asked for? I'm not sure if that's what I would have asked for either, but I think that's a pretty good idea. No one else would ever have a bell from the reindeer's harness, would they? Look at the sleigh is flying now. I told you these were awesome pictures. A clock struck midnight as the elves roared their approval. Santa handed the bell to me, and I put it in my bathrobe pocket. The conductor helped me down from the sleigh. Santa shouted out the reindeers' names and cracked the whip. His team charged forward and climbed into the air. Santa circled above us, then disappeared in the cold, dark polar sky. Let's look up close. There's the reindeer, Santa, and all those elves. They're all still down there cheering, cheering, cheering for Santa. No, he looks a little bit sad. Let's find out why. As soon as we were back inside the Polar Express, the other children asked to see the bell. I reached into my pocket, but the only thing I felt was a hole. Oh, I had lost the silver bell from Santa Claus's sleigh. "Let's hurry outside and look for it," one of the children said. But the train gave a sudden lurch and started moving. We were on our way home. Oh, that's so sad. he lost his present. I'm feeling sad. Are you feeling sad? It's hard when you finally got something amazing and then he lost it. It broke my heart to lose that bell. When the train reached my house, I sadly left the other children. I stood at my doorway and waved goodbye. The conductor said something from the moving train, but I couldn't hear him. "What?" I yelled out. He cupped his hands around his mouth. "Merry Christmas!" he shouted. The Polar Express let out a loud blast from its whistle and sped away. So now he's back at home. On Christmas morning, my little sister Sarah and I opened our presents. When it looked as if everything had been unwrapped, Sarah found one last small box behind the tree. It had my name on it. Inside was the silver bell. There was a note. "Found this on the seat of my sleigh. Fix that hole in your pocket. Signed, Mr. C." Oh, I shook the bell. It made the most beautiful sound my sister and I had ever heard. But my mother said, "Oh, that's too bad." "Oh, yes," said my father, "it's broken." When I'd shaken the bell, my parents had not heard the sound. At one time, most of my friends could hear the bell. But as years passed, it fell silent for all of them. Even Sarah found one Christmas that she could no longer hear its sweet sound. Though I've grown old, the bell still rings for me, as it does for all who truly believe. Do you think you would be able to hear the bell of Santa's reindeer? I think so too. I know I would be able to hear it. I listen for those bells every year. What do you think about that amazing story? So this little boy decided that the first gift of Christmas should be a bell from Santa's sleigh. Why do you think he chose that? He could have had anything in the world, anything that he wanted. He could have had the newest Xbox. He could have had a new basketball. He could have had so many things. But once he got to the North Pole, did he think about those toys and other games and such and things that he might play with for a while and then not want anymore? He didn't think about that. When he saw the amazing place he was in, he thought, maybe there's a special little piece that I could have to remember this forever. Because do you think you get to go to the North Pole all the time? No way. I know if I got there, I would want a little souvenir too to remind me of the place I'd been. So he was really smart. And he thought of something so special that not anyone else would have, that little silver bell. So when you find a silver bell, you better ring it, see if you can hear it, so you know for sure that you believe in Santa, you believe in Christmas magic, and you believe in the North Pole. That's pretty cool, right? So here is my challenge for you today. We made snowflakes that last week, and I know you're very busy getting ready for Christmas. You're getting ready, you still have schoolwork to do, so we're not going to do an extra project today. Instead, my challenge is for you to sit down with your family, make some hot cocoa, find a good book to read, and snuggle up with them. That's a great gift that you can give your family for Christmas. Spend some time together. Spend some time. If you don't have a book, you can play this video again. I have a lot of videos you can look up. There's a lot of videos on here that you could look up. Spend some time, and then maybe you can talk to each other about some of the special memories and the things that you love the most at Christmas that isn't presents. Think of something else. What's a special tradition that you do? In my family, we get together and we make pierogies for our Christmas Eve dinner. Now this year's going to be different because all the cousins and aunts, we all can't get together in the same place, but we'll all be making them in our own homes at the same time. And maybe we'll share with pictures or video chats and things like that so we can all still share in that special time. So we might change things up a little bit, but it's still going to be different. It's still going to be fun, and it's still going to mean something to me and my family. So talk about some traditions. This is a good time to slow down and find out some things. Maybe you'll find out something that your mom or dad used to do when they were a little kid that you never even knew they did or that they like to do. Find out how they celebrated Christmas. So that's what your activity is going to be today, okay? And if you can make some hot cocoa, that just makes it even sweeter, doesn't it? One of my favorite things to have on a cold winter night. Come on, Joy, we need you. Don't we all need some joy? We sure do. Pretty soon she's got to get dressed up for Christmas. What do you think? Let's spread some joy. I wonder what it will be today. You know, if you can think of some new ideas for the winter time about how to spread joy, send them to me. Put them in the messages so that I can add them to the jar. We might be able to think of new things now that it's Christmas time. Oh, this is from my Aunt Mo. She is so wise. It says, call your grandparents. And you know what? Number one, anytime you call your grandparents, they're going to be so happy to hear from you. But remember, we were just talking about finding out about your family's Christmas traditions, things that they might have done every year, maybe just when they were younger. Find out what your grandparents did when they were younger. Maybe it's a lot of the same things your family does now, but there may be some things very different. So there's our challenge and spreading our joy at the same time. You're going to make your grandparents so happy when you ask them about Christmas when they were a kid, because it will bring back some really fun memories for them as well. I love this time of year. It's a great time to just share the love with your friends and your family. I'm sharing my love with you. Here gives a squeeze for everyone, right? We'll squeeze joy, not too hard. There's a hug from me to you. Take care of yourselves and your family. I hope you enjoyed the story. And always remember, boys and girls, keep spreading your joy.